welcome to another episode of me teaching you Colombian slang. For this one, I added some words that I think are going to be very interesting and whose type we haven't really talked about. But as per usual beforehand, I want to remind you that language evolves. That's kind of what it does. And so the words that we are seeing now are things that I used to use in my vocabulary or that people around me had in their vocabulary that are from Colombia. However, words can have different meanings depending on where you are, and they can also develop into other meanings, both positive and negative. So let's just remind that and keep an open mind. If you have any information about any of these words and the meaning, please feel free to share. I would love to know. I wanted to start with one of those examples of why is this word that was a whole other thing came to be this? Nobody knows, but I just still love it. The word is lucas. In Colombia, some people refer to money as lucas. And this is something that it is very interesting because actually in most languages in most parts of the world, there is a colloquial term, more than one usually, to refer to money. In Colombia, lucas is just one of them. In Colombia, we have pesos colombianos. Because there are different types of pesos around the world, it is better to specify which one. We have both coins and bills, and they of course go from lower to higher. The lower it's 100 pesos, which is one coin. Then you have 200, 200, 500, 500, and then you go into bills, with 1,000 being the first bill. And then it goes up. If we're talking about coins, usually lucas, it's not for that. It's for older, for 1,000 upwards. So for example, let's say you need to borrow some money because you don't have enough. So whenever quantity you need, you're gonna ask the person if you can borrow, let's say 2,000 lucas. To borrow, by the way, it's called prestar. That's the verb. Let's just add it on as we're talking about it. We follow with another type of words that I love, which are the ones that have the sound ch. And in this case, we have cucho and cucha. This is an adjective. And this one is used to refer to someone who is elderly, but especially someone in your family. If you call someone who is an elderly person with these words and you don't know them, it might seem as rude. So usually you say it in a very cutesy way to people that you know. This is one that I would absolutely be certain it is present in a lot of telenovelas or Colombian shows because it is a very colloquial term as well, but it is more present also in older generations. So you can hear people from various ages saying this word and referring to the parents and grandparents with this. Once again, it's one of those cases where the direct translation might be a little bit but it is actually a term of endearment for us. This next word I wanted to add because I felt it could introduce us into how amazing the culture of everywhere in the world is, but it can also be quite useful. So the word is tinto. A tinto for us in Colombia is a cup of coffee. But here's the kick. I live in Italy, and here they have a lot of different types of coffee. You can go to a McDonald's even, and you might find espresso, marocchino, cappuccino, latte macchiato, double. You have a lot of things going on. But I learned that the direct translation in English or, for example, in Spanish might not be the same. So what you here might call espresso, for example, in Colombia might mean something different. It's all about the amounts of coffee, basically, in regards to the amount of water that you make it with, as well as milk. For example, a cappuccino or latte macchiato that has just a slightly more amounts of milk. Those are the ones that I usually drink, so I don't really know that much about coffee. What I do know, because of all the people around me that do like coffee and take it, well, here's the thing. For us, we drink café con leche if you want coffee with milk. But otherwise, you usually go to a negocio, a store, that can be of any type, because sometimes all sorts of stores might have coffee. And you ask for a tinto, a cup of coffee. We have that during the mornings, afternoons, nights, that can be the whole day round, but you're gonna hear it quite a lot. People in a store, in a bakery or whatever, be like, ¿me da un tintico? Would you give me a cup of coffee? I recommend you to try it out. You know, if you ever go and you're not certain, it's not even that big, so don't feel bad. You can maybe share it with someone else, just so you can understand the amounts of coffee that are in that, and then considering that, then you can understand what's that you want. And of course, we also have the diminutive version because, yes, tintico. Staying with the evolution of the words, we have one that I love. I don't know why whenever I hear someone saying this, kind of gets me all warmed up. The word is su merced. This is a contraction from a su merced, to the mercy. Comes from the old ways, probably colonial, when you would refer to someone in that way. But it kind of developed into this su merced, all attached, and you use it as a you term, basically. For example, let's ask, are you hungry? Su merced tiene hambre? In regards to demographics, I would say that yes, most people that I have heard use this word are upwards, but I like the word and I hope that also the youth uses it because I think it's a lovely word. The next one is another one that you might find useful if you ever visit Colombia. It is maluco. Now this comes from mal, so bad, but it's used and referred to someone feeling sick. So you can refer to yourself or to someone that they are a little bit, they look maybe pale, it's like, uy, está maluco. And not only to people, sometimes it can be from, food, for example, that doesn't taste too well, or maybe it is gone by the expedition day, so you say, está maluco. It is one of those words that there's not much to say besides that, but it can be quite useful and again used very normally because it's kind of a very normal and useful word to use. Next we have one that basically Spanish speaking country, this is a good one, rumba. Rumba, it's a party, it's a fun. It can also refer to a specific type of music. It's nothing fancy, just one of those sub things in music, But overall, when people invite you to a rumba, it's to a party. Or they might use it to refer to a nice party, like que rumba. I do have heard some people refer to it when they do it in certain dancing shows. They say rumba, and I'm not saying it is wrong, but it is a new. So in Spanish, you would refer to as rumba, because rumba, I don't actually think it exists. Let's also do some combined slang. Now this next one is formed out of two things put together. The first one is parar, stop. The second one is bola, ball. Parar, bola. Stop the ball. Which, just think about it for a second. If you want to stop the video, it's fine. Just think, what could it mean? Of course, the most natural way of thinking about it is, to stop something, to kind of, the ball is rolling, so you stop the ball. No, it actually means to pay attention. This is one of those that, again, why did we took two words that have the straight of meaning and then combine them and we're like, yeah, we're just gonna make it another meaning together because why not? And that's basically parar bola. We use it to kind of call out someone to be like, oh, no, listen to us. Or to just pay attention to something in general. So, pare bola. Let's keep the fun combinations going. We have botar, to throw, corriente, electricity. To throw electricity. What could it mean? Well, this one I think is a bit more clear. It is basically to give energy. Especially we use this to kind of refer to put energy, emotions, attention to something. For example, you are seeing that a person is kind of debating too much on the same subject and going back to it, and you might say to them to don't throw too much energy into it. No le bote tanta corriente. Don't throw that much energy into it because it might be harmful. I don't know what point did it came to be, but I think it's kind of one of those examples of a very fascinating aspect of, well, technically, it's very reminiscent of how the body works because, well, neurons work like that with energy. And so more you think about something, you're kind of using a lot of energy to recall all of it and to use your brain. So saying to someone, don't use a lot of energy into that, it's kind of realistically what is happening. Like, don't waste energy on those synapses because there's no point. We love anatomically correct slang. Another combination, let's keep on going. The first word is hacer, to do, vaca, cow. To do, cow. What are we thinking, people? Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm gonna tell you. Hacer vaca is a phrase that we use to basically put together money to do something. A classical case would be if you need to buy something for a party, all of you put something together and you refer to that putting money all together for one purpose as hacer vaca. You might do it for, again, a party, or maybe if you travel together, all of that. A part of me wants to think there is a very nice reason why, but there's another part of me that thinks like, okay, we make a cow because then we kind of, end the cow and we give the pieces for everyone, if you know what I mean. But you know what? Give it the meaning that you want. The point is, it is used to refer to that. Going back to some very just colloquial words that we use that, again, unless you think about it, you don't really analyze. It's the word men. Yeah. However, it's not men with that inflection on the A that you have in English, but it's more of an open normal A. Man. We basically use this as a dude of sorts. However, you don't use it just for people that you know. You can refer to any man, any male, maybe if it's easier for you to think about it this way, as a man. So you might say, ese man, that man over there. What's so interesting with this word is that also some people might refer to men as mano. This is also in other Latin American countries. No mano, eso no. Not man, not that. I cannot tell you exactly why the addition of the O there, but it is basically the same. And you might hear this quite a lot because we use it. People just naturally, it comes out and it might be a little bit confusing at first, but be certain that it means the same thing. You're referring to a man. On my previous video, the second part of my teaching you Colombian slang, we talked about echar los perros. Now, if you remember, good, points for you. If not, that's fine, you can go and check it out. Overall, it means to flirt. And so I thought there are a lot of words that are romantic or, related to romance that we could get into. Starting with traga. This is how you refer to your crush. And there is actually a song from a group called Bonca known as Traga Maluca. You see how everything turns? And this is a song that I would say that a lot of people, my generation, but also upwards, know quite well because during that time it was huge. So it's kind of also an addition music recommendation of mine. So let's think about this. If a traga is your crush and maluca is something that is, kind of not okay, what do you think traga maluca means? Well, the song kind of explains it quite well, but it's fine. I'll explain it to you. Traga maluca is an unrequited love, basically. A crush that is not doing you so well, maybe they are with someone else, or maybe they're just not interested in you. But not only do you refer as the person as your traga, you can also refer as just the aspect of having a crush. Tengo una traga. I have a crush. These are very colloquial terms, and I wouldn't say that a lot of, older generations might use it, but I love it, and I genuinely, in Spanish, struggle to think of how to explain that I have a crush without using traga. Like, I've been thinking about it for a couple of minutes. I have nothing. Let's follow up with caer, but specifically caerle. So this last part indicates that it is towards something. Now, let's bring it back. Caer means to fall. So to caerle, towards someone, means to fall into someone. It is actually quite used when you have a crush on someone that your friends tell you to caerle, aka, go for it. Here's where things can get also complicated. So I need to explain with examples because I always think it is easier. If I say caerse, that is to fall, physically fall. If I say caerle, that also might mean not just to be interested or want to engage into romantically, but can also mean to basically how you feel about a person. So what are your thoughts on that person? For example, I might ask someone, ¿Cómo te cae? And it's not that I'm asking them, how do you fall? I'm asking them, how do you feel about whoever person we're talking about? And you can say, me cae bien or me cae mal. Good vibes, bad vibes, basically. And the other extra sort of meaning that we can use for caer is to refer to kind of arriving to somewhere. Very specific, very colloquial. For example, I'm on the phone with my friend and they're like, oh, I'm at home alone, I'm bored, do you want to come and we can play something? And if I'm free, I'm like, okay, I'll be right there. This I'll be right there or be there in a minute, all of these we can just contract into ya le caigo. Ya as in now, or maybe a little bit in the future, like, in not so long, le caigo. But let's go back to feeling emotions. Now there is this other one that it is a combination. We go back to combinations. We have tener, to have, ganas, wanting. It's sort of having needs, but it's not that physical. This is also another way to refer that you want someone in the romantic term. I mean, also physical, I guess, but it is more used in a more generic romantic pursuit. You have a crush on someone, you can say, le tengo ganas. If you speak Spanish, you might be thinking, well, wasn't there quiero as well? Because that also means want, right? Yes, and they are synonyms. This romantic context, it's very us, is the one that I'm kind of adding here because that also means just to tener ganas, just like that. But when you use it as a synonym with quiero, you usually add what you want after that, otherwise it's kind of... So you could absolutely say quiero comer as tengo ganas de comer. It means that you want to eat. The only thing that I could tell you is that the way in which we use both, it's more about the whole phrase as well as the whole mood that we're in. The reason why I'm saying this is because, for example, I could say quiero comer, I want to eat. Or maybe something more specific, quiero sushi, quiero papas, whatever it is. But I mostly am going to use tengo ganas when I'm kind of talking with my friends and it is a way to kind of suggest something or to be playful about me wanting something specific. So when I say tengo ganas de comer, you could usually, and most of the times I'm going to use it to then add, hey, tengo ganas de sushi or tengo ganas de papitas. And just to go even further, the way we actually use it in Colombia, and this is a straight up phrase, tengo ganas como de unas papitas. So the whole phrase, tengo ganas como de, like of some chips. Of course, papitas, because diminutive couldn't be missed. All of this very long phrase, which is not needed because, again, I could just say, quiero papitas. But this way is one of those cultural aspects that I cannot even explain to you after a certain point. We just use it like that. It is a playful way, I feel. It is more like to kind of elongate the conversation. It's kind of to intend the fact that it is fun and playful again. And these are the social contexts and cultural aspects that they just exist. But you can use whatever you want, it's fine. You had your crush, you decided to go for it, and they were like, okay, I'm also interested in you, and you decide to get together. When that happens, we can call that cuadrarse, to basically square up. So when I tell you to square up, you think of something. For us, we think of something else. In fact, I would say that the only time that I was asked to get together with someone, to be someone's girlfriend, I was asked, ¿nos cuadramos? Now, I'm not going to get into the absolutely embarrassed way that I responded to that because that is a very colloquial term, and funny enough, similar to English, square also can mean, the division of the streets. Colombia, a lot of the cities and places in general have the Roman baseline. It's the one where you have parallel and perpendicular streets to each other that create quadrants. Those quadrants, squares, are cuadras, also in Spanish. So sometimes if people explain to you a street, they might say it's down 2 squares, 2 cuadras abajo, or arriba, but usually abajo. In regards to the up and down, don't worry about it, they're usually gonna show it to you, and they might say the amount of squares that you need to do. Now, once that you got together with your lovely person, you can call them bizcocho, or the diminutive bizcochito. Bizcocho, it's again a very colloquial term, however, this one is used by various people. I wouldn't say that it is connected with any generational group in particular. What's so funny though is that bizcocho also means pastry. So it is just that kind of like calling someone cake, sweet pie, honey, all of that. That is in bizcochito. if you go to a pastry, bakery, whatever, this is one of those other cases like the coffee aspect. Be careful with the direct translation sometimes, because we have a lot of pastries, as the vast majority of the world has. So if you go to a place and you ask for a bizcocho, you might get something that you were not expecting. So be careful with that. Now, if you have seen this video all over this point, and you have seen also the other videos, because this is already part 3, well, I'm pretty sure some people are already thinking, hey, what about the not very nice words? Yes, I talked about one in my previous video, but like I said there, it's not really a bad word, so it kind of passes by. What about the bad ones? And also this is because in recent times I saw a video where they were saying that Colombia was apparently one of the countries that used the more bad language. Do I agree? Again, like I said in my previous video, I don't use them that much, and people around me don't actually use them that much, even growing up. Doesn't mean that we didn't use them a lot, but I would say that in a normal amount, as you would use in any other language. So in regards to statistics, I don't know. But again, we do have them. So let's get into some of them again, whatever. And I think I need to move because the sun is going off. These are contractions. We have the full one, when you can call someone, just like in English, a son of a... And indeed, you can say it just like that, the whole phrase, ta, ta, ta. You can sometimes add son of a mother bitch, but of course, the last word doesn't mean bitch, it means prostitute. So yeah, that's kind of the main word. It is a strong one. You wouldn't hear, religious grandmas using this at all. It's one of them that if you say in class, you would get in trouble. But what's so interesting about it is that, again, it kind of developed and contracted into, honestly, just the change also of the sound as well as the writing way. So it turned into hue, hijo de hue. And if you write it down, I would write it with a jota that we saw on the previous video. Even though the first one, you can also contract, for example, when you text, when text costs and whenever you send it, you would say HP. And what's even funnier is that you can call someone a HP. And you know that they mean da-da-da. You can actually see me struggling saying these words. Oh my gosh. But when we do the contraction, we actually can also modify the last one. The usual is, that one. But then we also have the other version of madre, which is mother, like mother, no mom, mother. Hue madre. Hue madre, I am more comfortable saying because it is not actually that mean. It doesn't have that heavy implication. You can say, for example, if something falls from your hands and it breaks, or if you hurt yourself, on the pinky, you would say, ay, hue madre. In a similar way, we had hue pucha. That is, I would say, very from the inside, aka from Bogota, because the majority of people that I have heard use this one come from there. Other people just go there right to the up part because they're like, we're already saying it, let's just say it. But I don't know why. Anyway, people that would try not to be rude or not use bad language, but they still need to because it's a way to express yourself, they would say, huepucha. And there's something very cute almost about it. You can also, funny enough, say just pucha. Yes, some people just use that because once again, it is kind of that mentality of, oh, let's not use bad language. But even though you kind of want to say something, let's just tone it down by kind of taking away some parts of it. But at the end of the day, the baseline of them all is that one. And because you just saw me struggling so much, I think we're going to get into the last word, which it's actually a recollection of my previous video. Because I realized that there was an extra thing that I could have explained to you that I didn't. So there was a phrase, actually a combination of words, that I teach you in my last video. And it was abrirse del parche, to open up from the group. And what's so interesting is that we also use just take out the parche and leave open up, but then turn it into just get out of here. So we use abrirse o ábrase o me abro do refer to just going out, getting out of there, basically. It can have a kind of mean way, like you can refer to someone in that way, like kind of get out of here, like get out, ábrase. But you can also do it in a playful way. For example, me abro de aquí. I'm out of here, which once again, I am. Now I'm curious, did you know some of these words? How do you say this in your language? I'm always fascinated by that. And again, if you have any questions or doubts or whatever, feel free to ask, and if I don't answer, hopefully someone that knows will. In any case, have a nice day. Bye bye.